And wait, am I also looking at
the lens here?
I'm looking at the camera, which is funny because I'm always trying so hard not to, because it's like...
Right.
Aubs Family Photos is an answer to something I didn't know I was looking for most of my life until a few years ago.
The family units that she was in were never really strong. They had challenges. And I think she's always longed for that family that you see on TV.
Are you super hard on yourself?
All the time. A couple of years ago, I started working with a nonprofit here in town, where I actually started working for the owner. He's a quadriplegic and I became his caregiver. And so by doing that, I also luckily was able to be invited to come along on some of their nonprofit trips.
When we're on these trips and she's out taking photographs of us lifting people off the ground and putting them in wheelchairs, she steps into the situation.
Wheelchair wars! I was there doing photos for that trip, and I took a picture of this family, and it turned out to be like this amazing photo, and I just had this idea of like, I need to get them this picture because they should have it.
She's seeing this like closeness, this togetherness of this family, even though they're going through such hardships, you know, she's like, they're doing it, they're loving each other, they're making it work.
I've had this thing inside of me that has always been seeking something, you know, and I think that probably many people who have been adopted can feel the same way. My mind started running and I thought, I have to get this photo back to these people.
These families don't get pictures. They don't have a family picture on the wall.
I knew I was going to be going back to that same city a couple months after that trip. Once I got home, I started planning to stay for an additional week so that I could spend that time taking family portraits for people who could never afford to pay a photographer to come in.
She was like, I'm doing it. And she made it happen, and we didn't have anything to do with it. Once we left, she was on her own, and she just reached out to people through Facebook and got into groups of people who lived in the Merida, Mexico area. She found people to stay with, she found rides, she found connections, and she made it happen.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't help save somebody's life, but I sure could probably put a smile on their face for a minute, you know? Aubs Family Photos is absolutely funded by donations. We wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't have the support of our communities. I don't have much to offer, but this is what I've got, and I want to give it. That's what we decided, right? That's what we're doing. So we'll be hopping our flight from Boise to Cancun. Once we land in Cancun, we'll be jumping on a bus, taking a 3-hour bus ride from Cancun to Merida, which is where we'll be staying. From there, we'll be going back and forth from Merida to Selle, which is the village where we'll be taking photos of the families. Kind of a breakdown of the way that week is going to work. We'll have day 1 is travel day. Day 2 is going to be prep day. Day 3 is shoot day. Day 4 is going to be edit print day and also putting pictures in frames. And then day 5, we're going to be out delivering the images to the families back in the village of Selle. And then day 6, we hop back on a bus, drive back to Cancun, and from there we get to fly back home and hopefully show you guys some awesome stuff that we were able to experience while we were there. We're looking to raise $5,000 for this trip, and to break down kind of what we'll be using that $5,000 for, it'll cover flights, it'll cover transportation, it'll cover food costs, it will also cover an emergency fund, as well as the money that we'll be using to purchase items for each individual family to try and help kind of give them an extra additional boost in addition to the images that we will be printing and framing and then bringing back and delivering to the families at the end of the day. And then the last thing that we're going to be needing is an interpreter and a coordinator. So we are looking for the funds that we'll be needing to cover those costs, and we're really hoping that we can get you on board with us so that we can make this happen, make some families pretty happy.